weeks ago, I met with my coach for this talk. We spent about an hour talking about TEDx and another 2 talking about everything else. What it's like to be a millennial versus a Gen Xer, race in America, reproductive rights. The kind of conversation that bridges gaps, but most people are too unwilling to have with someone so different from them. As we wrapped up our meeting, we encountered a man with shameless misogynist views. During a brief exchange of opposing opinions about the service and the state of our economy, he began to raise his voice at us. We walked away. He followed us, yelling all sorts of obscenities. We continued to ignore him, until he said something that stopped us both in our tracks. "You're stupid. It's because you're a woman. That's your problem." I was done. But again, he was not. He sat back down, got back up to harass us again as we were saying our goodbyes. I was absolutely dumbfounded. It was the first time I'd witnessed such blatant hatred for women with my own eyes. In the following weeks, as I reflected upon that experience, I realized that I've come a long way with my own views of womanhood. That man actually inspired me to connect with you all in a completely different way, to be vulnerable, on a stage no less, about my own journey of unlearning internalized misogyny. 8 years ago today, I was wrapping up my first semester of college. Other than biology, things were going pretty well. Little did I know, I would return second semester to a nasty rumor that aimed to slut-shame me. It was started by a friend, giant air quotes. I didn't run to my dorm and cry. I didn't freak out. I was used to it. I had dealt with that kind of thing for most of my life. It was the reason why I had very few girlfriends and gravitated toward guys. The reason why I have to admit I thought women were stupid and believed myself to be above them in their behavior. It was the reason why I could never really trust women. But then, that hope that I had for college started to prove not to be in vain. One by one, my real friends started to show themselves. And to my surprise, for the first time, they were all women. They decided to get to know me, although they had heard the rumors, to get to know my character up close and personal. They defended me to whoever offered their misinformed opinions about me. Suddenly I had a village of women. I still had my trust issues. All of my internalized oppressions weren't unlearned overnight, but I did take away 2 very important things from my college experience with these women. 1, it's fun being the girl that fits in with the guys. It is, as long as you don't start to lose yourself because of it. The more time I spent building meaningful relationships with women, the more sensitive I became to the toxic masculinity around me, even in women. I decided to change what I could not accept. Conversations where I allowed my friends to address women with derogatory phrases or apply negative attributes to femininity were no longer acceptable. Why do we put labels on each other? Why do we put them on women and then decide to judge them and then treat them a certain way because of it? Why is like a girl an insult? Why are women expected to be emotionally mature, but men get the benefit of the doubt? It was the beginning of me identifying where toxic masculinity and misogyny had crept into my own mind. And I wanted to do that because for the first time I had a connection to other women. I wanted to defend them the way they defended me. 2, I learned I was never truly as body positive as I thought I was. I internalized a lot of comments I heard about women's bodies from both men and women. And my own view of my body was very fragile. Most of my life it was, you're too skinny. You need to put some meat on your bones. You look anorexic. Well, I spent about a year and a half in college working out like a lunatic, protein loading, carb loading, doing way too many squats. I looked amazing my senior year. But no one knew that I was struggling from an obsession with my own body image. My friends started to get on board. They were working out, making healthy decisions. They were happy and proud of themselves each step of the way, while I was miserable and pushing myself to no end. Again, I decided to change what I could not accept. I realized that they were happy because they weren't doing it for anyone or anything else, and I was. I was letting the views of men dictate how I felt about myself. I was still in competition with other women. Changed that. They inspired me to embrace the body I had, not seek a revenge body, affirm that body every day, and I couldn't have done that without them. Yet another form of internalized misogyny they helped me identify and reject. I've said all of that to say this. We all have internalized oppressions. The only way that we break free from all of them, that we learn to embrace every part of our identity, is to surround ourselves with community. I could have never done that without surrounding myself with the women I previously rejected. So, if you find yourself relating to the girl that I used to be, the one that thought that women were stupid, like that man in the restaurant, I challenge you, surround yourself with women. Because the art of mastering womanhood will never be done with a silly imitation of a man.